Without student loans, our GDP growth would crumble. Trump wisened up. Neoliberalism wins. Nothing ever happens. Well, I mean, the abolition of the Department of Education wouldn't necessarily take away student loan debt. I don't think. I think they would just like immediately sell it off to they would get a fat multi-billion-dollar contract from a loan repayment service that would buy it for pennies on the dollar from the federal government and then farm virtually every single person. Oh, dude, there are so many awful things that are happening. There are so many awful things that are happening that I forgot to even mention that Donald Trump is going to sign an executive order today to abolish the Department of Education. Wonderful stuff, man. Actually, very cool. Thank you, sir. Trump told his cabinet Elon is not in charge. Uh-oh. Bro, it's a weird predicament for me because on the one hand, it's like Elon Musk when he's holding the reins of the administrative state and absolutely destroying it. He's too busy to hyper focus on his other, his other things that strike his fancy, like talking about Twitch bans and how unjustifiable certain Twitch bans are and whatnot. I don't want him knowing who I am or paying attention to me even a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, not even a little bit, okay? Not even a little bit. Yo, you got it? But let's get started. Trump expected to take action to eliminate Department of Education.
At the Department of Education, he's preparing to sign an executive order directing Secretary of Education Linda McMahon to dismantle the department. Senior political correspondent Rachel Scott has the details for us. Good morning, Rachel.
Michael, good morning to you. And the Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon, has only been on the job for 3 days. But already this morning, President Trump is preparing to sign this executive order directing her to dismantle the Department of Education. Now, even McMahon acknowledges that this would require an act of Congress. The order does instruct her, though, to do as much as she can by law, stating the Department of Education's main functions can and should be returned to the states. Most funding for public schools already is at the state and local level, but the department does oversee billions of dollars in funding to help low-income students and students with disabilities, and enforces civil rights laws to prevent discrimination in schools. It manages about $1.5 trillion in student loan debt, and it also oversees the process for students applying for college financial aid through Pell Grants and FAFSA, which for many students is the only way that they get help paying for college. About 17 million students every single year apply for financial aid through FAFSA. The question now is how much of that could be directed or moved to be under a different agency. And is there support in Congress to eliminate the Department of Education altogether, Robin?
Still so much uncertainty there. All right. Rachel, thank you.
Sources tell ABC News President Trump is not signing an executive order to dismantle the Department of Education.
What? Well, that was quick. Damn. Damn. Shit just changed real quick, huh? This is the most flippy floppy admin of all time, dude. It's craziness. I know we got 10 Democrats who voted to censure Al Green. I'm going to talk about that in a second, okay? What is happening here? What is going on? What the hell is going on?
Today, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt calls reports that Trump was expected to sign the order today, quote, fake news. ABC's Alex Perchet joins me for more on that. Alex, what's the latest?
What do you mean? What? Fake news? Bro, you said you ran on it. This. And then you said you were going to do it over and over again. And then you leaked to the press that you were going to do it. And now you're like, not me. That's not me. When Donald Trump famously appointed Vince McMahon's wife, Linda McMahon, as the head of the Department of Education, he said, and I repeat, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, okay? He said, Linda McMahon is going to take control of this agency and oversee its end. That's what he said. So what I don't understand is why he's just, acting all different now. But I'm glad that the Department of Education has got a stay of execution. Let's take a look.
Hey, Diane. So we've seen what the White House press secretary has said, calling this fake news about the executive order being signed today. But behind the scenes, multiple sources are telling ABC that the White House decided to pull this signing specifically because there was concern amongst top administrative officials about the blowback that the order would receive, especially with what's been deemed a lack of messaging in place ahead of its timing. And one of the things that was of specific concern is answering questions about how this executive order would impact the school lunch program. And when you think about the Department of Education, one of its chief functions, I mean, billions of dollars go towards servicing students that are low income, and then also students with disabilities. And so, there was a pivotal question here about how that would either be absorbed by other agencies or how state and local school districts would be able to fill in the gaps there.
And Alex, regardless of whether he's planning to sign an order in the coming days, President Trump has repeatedly called for the Department of Education to be dissolved. So what's the strategy here?
Well, it's interesting, Diane, because so he has, but as we know, even if he signs this executive order, and even if Linda McMahon, the Department of Education secretary, wants to follow through, in order to dissolve this agency, he needs an act of Congress, and they need 60 votes. They need Democrats to be on board with this. And frankly, there is no Democratic support that we're aware of right now to dissolve the Department of Education. But what the EO, as we've been briefed on, advises Linda McMahon to do is to roll back as much as she can by law. And so whenever you look at that, maybe it becomes a piecemeal function of dismantling parts of the agency. Keep in mind, it's not just those billions of dollars that go towards low income and also students with disabilities. The Department of Education also oversees a $1.5 trillion in student loan debt. It also oversees FAFSA.
All right, ABC's Alex Perche, thank you.
There is a roller coaster happening with regard to the tariffs, those 25% tariffs that the president slapped on Canada.
Okay, so I guess I was wrong. I guess the Department of Education is not being abolished today. I don't know why they keep saying FAFSA. I don't know. I don't get it. All right. What if they cancel student loans? What if he cancels student loans? I was just a f you to Biden. Do the student loans get canceled if the Department of Education is abolished? I also do think it's pretty funny that, again, liberals are such like procedure perverts that they were like, oh, we can't do anything. We simply can't do anything about something that was well within the confines of the executive office, something that the executive office actually had the power to do, which is to offset student loan debt payments permanently. Okay. They utilized this numerous times. They did a pay freeze numerous times. And the Biden admin basically said, oh, we're just going to use this trick to permanently offset those payments and therefore eradicate all student loan debt, which was a great idea. It was a relatively popular idea at the time as well. And I thought if he did this, this would be a major way to bring back a lot of millennial and Gen Z people into the ranks of the Democratic Party, doing right by them. Obviously, people with student loan debts are not just young people in general. It's people from all different walks of life. There's like 50-year-olds that are still paying student loan debts, right? And of course, the procedure perverts turned around and said, well, the Supreme Court's stopping us, right? But you should fact check that before you... Wait, what is it? But if the Department of Ed is canceled, I believe they turn into unsecured personal loans and you should be able to declare bankruptcy when you graduate, but you should fact check that before you read. I mean, there are so many more issues with the abolition of the Department of Education. Let's be real. Okay? So many. Not just, FAFSA payments. Isn't most educational funding done at the local level anyways? Not that I think shutting down the Department of Education is a good thing. There is a lot. I mean, a lot of the funding does come from from localities, but yes, there is still plenty of funding that comes from the Department of Education. in any case, seems like it's not happening for the time being. I do think that, I mean, I was joking when I said if they abolish Department of Education, I suspect that what they would end up doing in the aftermath of that would most likely be, what I think they would do after that would probably be to offer these loans to private restructuring companies. You know what I mean? That is the most likely outcome. Like, I suspect that that's what they would do. They would immediately go and sell it away to private corporations that would restructure these loans and, basically farm an entire population, an entire generation for a profit. They might even keep some of the insane conditions on student loans, because like student loan debt is different because they're not personal debt. Like, they're not personal loans, which make it so that it carries over. Like there's no, you can't really you can't really bankrupt yourself. You can't it when you die, I think you still have to pay it. It's just like, maybe we'll bring back debtor's prison. I don't know. Nah, not when you die. Oh, it doesn't carry over through death. Okay, I might be wrong on that. But yeah, there's the Department of Education funds a lot of initiatives, including special education initiatives as well. So it's California stands to lose billions in education funding. 9% of the education budget, K through 12, CSU, UC, comes from the feds. Medi-Cal cuts would also hurt. 67% of all Fed money is going to California. $105 billion is for Medi-Cal. 56% of kids in California are on Medi-Cal. Yeah, I thought student loan debt was it carried over to your next of kin, but maybe I'm wrong. Let me see. Student loan debt carried over after death. No, if a borrower dies, their federal student loans are discharged after the required proof of death is submitted. No, it does not. It does not carry over. I was wrong. Oh, apparently there are some that don't go away, but most of them do go away. Yeah, it's private ones don't go away, depending on the structure of the contract that you have. What happens to student loans when you die and you're married? When someone with student loans dies and they're married, what happens next depends on the kind of loan and where they lived. If they had federal student loans, those loans are usually canceled. This means the spouse needs not to pay them back. To do this, someone needs to show the loan company a death certificate. But if the loans are private, it's different. The spouse might have to pay back the private loans. This is especially true if they co-sign the loan or if they live in a state where married people share property. Each private loan has its own rules, so check them. It's also a good idea to talk to someone in your state who knows a lot about these rules. Yeah, good stuff. Without student loans, our GDP growth would crumble. Trump wisened up. Neoliberalism wins. Nothing ever happens. Well, I mean, the abolition of the Department of Education wouldn't necessarily take away student loan debt. I don't think. I think they would just immediately sell it off to they would get a fat multi-billion-dollar contract from a loan repayment service that would buy it for pennies on the dollar from the federal government and then farm virtually every single person that's on it and aggressively pursue them. Yeah, that's what they would do. Yeah. Cut the Department of Education, privatize student loans, increase interest, all that good stuff. My private one was SoFi won't. My government loans will be canceled. Part of the reason I haven't refinanced my government loans is because those always have a chance of getting abolished, unlike my private. Yeah. I mean, an executive order dismantling or abolishing the Department of Education is one thing, but I think that the real, the way to do that is still going to be through Congress. I don't know how they would even do it. Maybe they would try to use impoundment or something. I don't know. Maybe they would try to stop funding it through the executive office, but who knows? Can we get Chris Kluwe on the broadcast? Maybe, if he wants to come on. You have not thanked your viewers once. What? What are you saying? Noah's laughing at you, chatter, in the other room. Yeah, they're making it. Yeah, he got that it was a JD Vance joke. I didn't understand that initially. All right. But speaking of thank yous, thank you for stepping up to the plate and just, pushing back against Donald Trump. It seems it's not just Claudia Sheinbaum, though. Let's be real. It's the car manufacturers that went to Trump and were like, the fuck are you doing, dog? I don't think you understand how the manufacturing works. How the manufacturing of American vehicles works, okay? And and they have delayed the tariffs on Mexico once again until April.
Mexico on Monday. Well, those are apparently not happening, at least when it comes to Canada and, to Mexico and not Canada. He is reversing some of them, at least maybe. Frankly, the reason why it's hard for us to describe is because nobody knows what exactly is happening. The president's Commerce Secretary said this morning that he was likely to postpone them for at least a month, but then minutes ago, President Trump said that they are going to delay those tariffs for Mexico, but not Canada. Washington, Wall Street, and Main Street have a lot riding on this. Everybody is extremely confused. Maybe Jeff Zeleny is not one of those people. Jeff, you're standing outside the White House. You're on the North Lawn. Can you give us any sense of what all this means?
Well, Dana, if there's any question of why the market has been so confused and rattled in recent days, I think the events of the last really hour sum it up quite perfectly, and certainly of the last month. The president often threatens tariffs. This time he went through with tariffs, and now we are learning that he is pulling back those tariffs. Let's start with Mexico. President Trump this morning had a call with Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum. He reported out a little bit of what they said, and in that, he said he is lifting the Mexico tariffs for at least a month. Let's take a look at his rationale as he explained it on social media. He said, "I did this as an accommodation and out of respect for President Sheinbaum. Our relationship has been a very good one, and we are working hard together." He goes on to say to stop undocumented immigrants and fentanyl. Then he also is using this to contrast his conversation yesterday with...
I'm going to tell you something. What's even crazier about what's going on here? Yeah, why are we watching ONN? Oh, this is CNN. Yeah, it's straight up One America News Network everywhere. New York Times' Michael Barbaro did a daily podcast about not the tariffs necessarily, but a little bit about the tariffs as well. And like Trump's actions against like fentanyl manufacturers in Mexico and the cartel, and how it's got the Mexican government shaking in its boots and it's got the cartel shaking in its boots. Like they straight up did a glaze piece on Donald Trump. It was one of the most shocking pieces of pro-regime propaganda I've seen from the New York Times in quite a bit. I mean, it was like Joe Brandon, his mental faculties are actually an order level of glazing. It's pretty crazy. Wait, what? Trump plans to deport Ukrainians who sought sanctuary in the U.S.? Hey, no. That is insane. Oh my God, bro. I didn't even... What? There's no way. There's no way. There's just no shot. I don't think he's doing that. Trump to revoke legal status for 240,000 Ukrainians as U.S. steps up deportations. Bro, he literally heard people go, if you got problems with refugees, why not with Ukrainian refugees? And instead of like addressing this hypothetical that is supposed to expose the hypocrisy, he said, nah, I'm not white supremacist. I just hate straight up every refugee. Or he's also saying Slavs are no longer white. He's officially moved Slavs down, Hitler style, moved Slavs down to the non-white category, actively. Who knows? We are regressing straight up. White status revoked, Ukrainians. I'm just letting you know. All the Slavs, listen, to the Poles, to the Polish, to the Baltics, to the Eastern Europeans. I'm going to tell you right now, this right here, welcome back. Okay? Welcome back. We're in it now. Where you are now relegated to a lower category, okay? And I say this as a white man who has Muslim background, so obviously I get a touch of that. I'm looking right at you, Italians, okay? He's coming for you next. He's coming for you next, dude. You better watch out. Yeah. All right. Hold on, I got to talk. No, anyway, let's continue with these tariffs, and then I'll get back to the Ukraine stuff.
So he has not yet said that he's going to lift the tariffs on Canada, but that is coming, and we learned that today from Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick.
My expectation is the president will come to the agreement today, and hopefully we will announce this today, that USMCA compliant goods will not have a tariff for the next month until April 2nd. Hopefully Mexico and Canada will have done a good enough job on fentanyl that this part of the conversation will be off the table and we'll move just to the reciprocal tariff conversation.
So look, yesterday, President Trump in the White House was saying that Canada had not done enough on fentanyl. Today, the Commerce Secretary says Canada has done enough. That underscores one reality, that fentanyl is not it may be the stated reason, but it's not the actual reason that the tariffs have been put in place, because very little fentanyl comes from Canada. From Mexico, however, it does. So, Dana, the bottom line to all of this is we have seen the president, he's a believer in tariffs, there's no doubt about it, but when he starts hearing the pushback and seeing the pushback in the markets, he reacts and changes his mind. We're told he will be speaking on this later this afternoon, and the White House is also saying that the reciprocal tariffs, the bigger batch, if you will, is still going into effect on April 2nd. But I think now every time we talk about the threat of tariffs, we have to keep in mind sometimes he gives them and sometimes he takes them away. Dana?
Bro, that's such a okay. Sometimes he gives them and sometimes he takes them away. Okay, nice, dude. Thank you. Good take. Yeah, Donald Trump is doing some real wild stuff. I'm not gonna lie. It's just this is truly the Ottoman Empire of America. Not even, dude. He's Turkifying the country. It's like this is the Turkification of America and the Turkification of Donald Trump. Let's not deify Trump. I mean, he is the Christian caliphate, okay? He is the brave Christian warrior, the Christian caliphate. He's got the mandate of heaven, the true Caesar with the hair plugs. Oh, bro, the cancer kid.
Met you.
Bro, I don't want to see this kid anymore. I just don't care about it. It's like very obviously a child. Why are people talking about this child constantly back and forth? Like, there's like liberals who are yelling about the child, and every conservative loves propping up this kid to be like, oh, I guess you hate black children with brain cancer. And they think this is like own. It's like, no, man, shut up. No one thinks this, okay? Like, what? In before Hasan reviews the platform, Black Success? True. That's me. That's what I do.
Or maybe he won't take them away. We still are not clear beyond what he posted about Mexico, what that means for Canada and beyond. Jeff, thank you so much. The uncertainty is not confined to Pennsylvania Avenue. Business leaders from Wall Street to Main Street are definitely feeling it too. I want to go right now to Matt Egan, who has been talking to those business owners. And Matt, it is not a coincidence that Howard Lutnick went on a business network to say these are perhaps not going to happen now. A business network that everybody who is on Wall Street watches.
From my spot.
It seems to me that what he was trying to do was to help correct the markets, which are totally
it's going to be later,
confused
like,
and worried.
And
we all know that confusion
maybe?
is not a place that the market wants to be. And we also know that the markets are an indicator of an economy that President Trump has historically been very, very keen to watch.
Yeah, that's right, Dana. Look, business owners, CEOs, investors, they crave stability. But what we're getting right now is a whole lot of uncertainty and, frankly, chaos, right? It feels like each week or maybe even each hour, there's new tariffs that are threatened, right? Some of them kick in, some of them are pulled back at the last moment after a very good phone call between President Trump and a world leader. Others are still looming.
Bro, I'm a firm and committed believer, and I've repeated this quite a bit, as you guys know. I'm a firm and committed believer in the idea that these people are still led by like some semblance of logic, and then there are people in their orbit that know better, and they're the ones who are just like pushing and pulling on certain levers. But whenever I see stuff like this, okay, whenever I see Trump go out, say there's tariffs, and then immediately roll it back, and then say, just kidding, there's tariffs again, oh, the tariffs just got 10 feet taller, you know? Whenever I see him do stuff like that, I do genuinely feel like maybe we are at the mercy of a madman. Like, that's not how it's supposed to go. And I still am not fully signed off on this idea that, like, no, it's just like Donald Trump's world and we're living in it. Okay. But I just, like, chatters are saying stock manipulation, right? It's for stock manipulation. It's like market manipulation. That would be a logical answer. I don't think it's for that. You know what I mean? Like, that would be logical. That would be logical if they're like actually trying to put together this like incredibly clever, devilish scheme where they're just taking advantage of the market movements over and over again. And I mean, you could trace that stuff pretty easily, by the way. You could definitely figure that out with ease. It wouldn't be that difficult if you saw like who's making the most money and then what level of association they have with Donald Trump from the stock market tanking whenever this kind of stuff comes out, who's like shorting it, right? But I don't think that that's what's going on. Why don't you think that? That's not true with offshore companies. You can't trace it. What do you mean? You can still see if someone is, I mean, they would be making billion-dollar moves. You know what I mean? Even if it's an offshore account, you can still trace it. You can trace it on the American side. You can trace the offshore companies. You just can't link it back to Donald Trump. Also, American companies don't usually offshore stuff anyway. Americans don't usually offshore stuff because we have inshoring. We have states in this country that basically work as a tax haven anyway and offer you a level of protection, offer you a level of privacy. Anyway, that's not what I'm talking about. Yeah, you got Delaware right there, but also I'm saying I don't even think that's the case. I think he's just like straight up going back and forth. There is no like discernible. There's no real decipherable reason behind why he's doing it. He's just like kind of doing it just because he can. It feels like, I don't know.
I mean, look at this tariff timeline. This is just tariffs related to Mexico, Canada, and China. And just since late November, there's been so many major moves. This doesn't even account for the tariffs that have been threatened on steel or aluminum or copper or the reciprocal tariffs or the tariffs on nations that threaten the US dollar. I mean, we literally could not fit all of the major tariff actions on one full screen. And look, if you're a CEO, if you're a business owner, this is not what you want to see, right? They famously hate uncertainty, but it's hard to imagine a more uncertain environment than this, because think about it, a lot of them are trying to figure out the cost of their goods, but they don't know what the cost of their goods is going to be because they don't know where tariffs are going to be. So they don't know if they should be raising prices or lowering them. Should they be firing workers or hiring them? Should they be investing more or less? There's actually an uncertainty index when it comes to trade policy, and it is through the roof. It has skyrocketed to all-time highs, surpassing.
I think you got to get to a level of instability so maddening that the market confidence goes away. And that's officially where we're at. Like, normally, market response to the insanity that happens with Donald Trump doesn't really shake investor confidence because they're just like, yeah, whatever. It's the American economy. Obviously, I'm always going to believe that the American companies are just going to be wealthier and wealthier. Market always goes up, never goes down, right? But now Donald Trump has done the unthinkable. He's shaken market confidence finally by spiking the football and then immediately you're trying to recover it and then spiking it even further over and over again. He's done it. He's done the damn thing. There it is.
Passing anything that we've seen going back to 1960, including even higher than during President Trump's first term. And that makes sense because what he's doing is just so much more aggressive in terms of size and scope than during his first term. I talked to a business owner in California who owns a pet supply store. And he said, look, he's not a fan of the tariffs, but it's the uncertainty that's even worse. He said it's just...
Okay, I'm kidding. Hold on. Ignore everything I just said. As an apolitical content creator, I have to repeat once again that Donald Trump is brilliant and he's a businessman. How many businesses have you bankrupted? He's bankrupted 7, okay? Talk to me when you've bankrupted at least like 3 or 4, and then you'll understand the fascinating ways in which his mind works. Okay? As an apolitical centrist content creator who doesn't do politics at all, who hates politics, who abhors politics, I'm here to tell you that what Trump is doing is based, actually. He's based in stock market maxing. He is stock market pilled. Okay? He's Dow Jones pilled. He's doing that. Yeah, bankrupting 7 businesses means he's run 7 businesses. Okay? That means he's run 7 businesses into the ground. How many businesses have you run? 0. Shut the fuck up. Okay? I'm going to do some pragmatic and nuanced political analysis here and tell you that he knows. Trust the plan. Trust the plan, everybody. I like that the 4chanification of internet has basically completed, and now virtually all Trump supporters are QAnon. You know, there's no more QAnon because everyone is QAnon. There's no more 4chan because everyone is doing 4chan shit. Fantastic. PragmaNabi. Yep. Pragmatic Abi. Yeah. Dow Jones, more like Donald John Trump Jones. Yeah, that's right.
Very stressful right now because he's trying to follow it all, but he just can't keep up. And I would just note that from the White House perspective, I do think an element of this trade volatility is probably a feature. It's not a bug, right? The president views tariffs as a way to gain leverage over other nations. And so by keeping everyone guessing, it enables the president to put even more pressure. But look, Dana, we are seeing this show up in the real economy, and it is really starting to pressure things.
Yeah, and as you were talking, we just got an update on where the Dow is, Matt, down 500 points. And so this is clearly what Howard Lutnick was trying to arrest, that drop. Thank you so much for that. And we should also note that we're going to be talking tomorrow, no doubt, because
I do like that the Trump administration is basically doing the age-old meme of listen up, liberal, and then you just like smear your shit all over the walls, and that's it. Like that. He's just like, yeah, do you feel owned now? Do you feel owned now? Guess what, dude? You're going to feel extra owned, okay? What now, libtard? Fantastic. Thank you.
Because tomorrow the jobs report will come out, indicator that it is not likely to be very good. I do now want to talk to some other terrific reporters that we have assembled today. Peter Hamby of Puck, Jeff Mason of Reuters, Mariana Sotomayor of The Washington Post. Thank you all for being here. Jeff Mason, I want to start with you.
Listen up, liberal. Crashes
you have
the economy.
The White House for a few years on all kinds of policy, especially and including economic policy, and you were covering it during the first Trump go-round. So I think what Matt said about this being part of the strategy, not a bug, but this is kind of the way that the president likes to put his tariff policy out there, is true. But because there is so much, and it's already on top of a crisis of affordability in the United States, this feels different right now.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And I would piggyback on to something that Matt said.
Bro, it turns out when you don't have gay people in charge, the economy crashes too, just like the planes. It turns out DEI was holding everything together. We all were so disrespectful to the polycule enjoyers. We were so disrespectful to our trans allies. I am going to be extra woke, okay? I am going to be the rattiest of rad libs. Do you understand me? DEI or die, okay? Straight up. Straight up. We need at least one a paraplegic, a black trans person who is in a polycule at every corporate executive board to fix this right now. This problem is not going away, okay? And I don't even mean like a person that deserves that position. No, I'm not even saying that. We need to actually do DEI, as in the way that Republicans consider what DEI is, which is apparently when people who don't deserve positions of power get to those positions of power. I'm gonna start hiring people off the street as long as they are not a straight white man. Okay? That's what we need to do. We're not stopping. It's not even mandatory DEI now, mandatory DEI tomorrow. And not even like the normal version of DEI, which is just to refuse to stop doing the real DEI, which is for white people in general. Like, no, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about like the Republican version of DEI. That's what we need to do.
Said that in addition to the volatility in the markets, which average Americans will note in their 401ks and investment accounts, but it goes a lot further than that for businesses. As Matt was saying, to plan.
I am trans. Put me in charge of something important immediately. Pronto. Okay? That's it. You don't even have to have qualifications. Just turn around and be like, I'm trans immediately. Okay, you're the head of the Department of Transportation. We have to do this. Yesterday. We have to fix this problem. Okay? We have to fix this problem instantly.
For what products need to be purchased, for what supplies need to be purchased, for where you want to keep your factory, for where you want to have your headquarters. All of those things factor into business decisions that are affected by this volatility, and the volatility is so massive because the president keeps changing his mind back and forth. I suspect that that's one of the reasons that the Dow is going down again today. I mean.
Wait, ain't no way. Trump paused tariffs on Canada, USMCA trade until April 2nd. Is this a meme? He also went back on the Canada ones too? What is going on, man? Yo, my favorite thing is imagining a world where Biden did this and how the Republicans would be having aneurysms on television every day to be like, this guy's obviously brain broken. Like, his brain is not working. What the hell? Dementia Biden. He's asleep at the wheel. He's like, we're going to have a recession, blah, 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 all this shit. But like when Trump does it, they're like, excellent move, sir. Excellent move. A brilliant 5D chess play, sir. You are killing it, sir. Incredible. This is also not to be too much of a nothing ever happens guy. Okay. But like, obviously you can't fuck up the bag. The entire reason for the American government to exist is so that they can enforce capitalism and the hierarchies that are designed under capitalism. You can't get ahead of that. You can't kind of break that toy for everybody, no matter how charismatic you foresee yourself to be. This is also part of the reason why I was initially saying, like, I don't think Donald Trump is going to reverse the trajectory of Ukraine all too dramatically. I was wrong on that. I copped to that. Okay. Having said that, of course, I always said it was because of the terms, and it was the terms dictated by the battlefield that would definitely motivate Americans to take a different position on Ukraine, or at least try to do a managed ceasefire negotiation and bring that to the table. Donald Trump clearly is going above and beyond on that front, even though a lot of the policies that he is actively talked about, aside from, openly gaslighting and openly yelling about Zelensky being a dictator or whatever, the other stuff in terms of like mineral deals or whatever, that is the same principles that came from the administration prior. Your Ukraine prediction is flawed because you continue to reject your Pontic roots. Yeah, except everyone always forgets the Ukraine positions that I've maintained that have not flopped, which was when Ukraine had all the leverage, they should have done a negotiated ceasefire, and that probably would have made sure that Ukraine maintained more territory and also not have hundreds of thousands of casualties in the process. People just seemingly forget about all those other things that I have routinely talked about and only focus on the one aspect of my initial analysis. We're not going to talk about it anyway. Yeah, I'm officially moving, aside from Donald Trump, to the madness category as well. He's one of the few unique people that I think is indecipherable in the way that he operates. Okay? How many thousands of federal government employees have been fired and then rehired subsequently in the past month? Like, it's got to be more than 10,000. I know for a fact that there are, like, it's just, He just keeps saying he's going to fire every federal employee. And then they go, oh, turns out they were actually doing some really significant stuff. Turns out they were actually working on some fairly important things. Oops, my bad. And then they just come back and they're like, please come back. We are rehiring you. Meanwhile, every dumbass Republican dick rider is running around being like, oh, Mr. President, you're killing it. Like how? I really want to understand how, I don't know, like the Asmongold fan base reacts to the Trump's turning on and off the tariff faucets. Like, what will it take for them to go, okay, maybe I don't fully comprehend what he's doing here. It's not like he's explaining why he's doing this. It's not like the reasoning for why he's doing the tariffs is actually a normal reason. He just says it's fentanyl and then moves on. Look at this about the hiring/firing. This is 100% in response to the jobs report leak where it shows Doge firing is tanking the economy, lol. Yeah, of course it is. I've been saying this for the past month. Breaking, Trump has said he is not looking at the stock market. Okay, stop. That's not real. Yeah, I don't think people understand that the federal government, especially if you factor in the Department of Justice as well, is a pretty large hiring body, okay? It's one of the largest. And it's a jobs program. And when you do mass layoffs of like some of the last middle class jobs that exist in this country, let us know if any of the okay. What is this? President Trump? Oh, we're waiting on him signing it to be released. Okay. Breaking news from Newswire. Trump, I'm not even looking at the stock market. No way, bro. Oh my God. At this point, I want the tariffs. Fuck off and give me what I want. Wait, what? Why? Just give me the tariffs, goddammit. The uncertainty is killing me. It's a real will they, won't they situation. Okay? It's a real will they, won't they situation. All right, I got to pee. While I do that, here's the moment where Democrats sing and defy Johnson on the House floor.
Adoption of House Resolution 189. The House has resolved that Representative Al Green be censured, that Representative Al Green forthwith present himself in the well of the House of Representatives for the pronouncement of censure, and that Representative Al Green be censured with public reading of this resolution by the Speaker. The House had come to order. The House had come to order. What's it?
You want to let him keep doing this, or totally clear?
The House had come to order. Clear the well, please. Clear the well. The House has to continue its business.
And if you want to clear a recess, you can do that too. And the mic's on.
Just say the House is in recess. Pursuant to Clause 12A of Rule 1, the House will stand in recess, subject to the call of the chair.
Well, that is a pretty dramatic development there, Wolf. We had expected the House to actually go into have another vote in the aftermath of this one. So we'll see this protest that is now breaking out on the House floor of some members of the House Democratic Caucus singing "We Shall Overcome" in the aftermath of this. But this is clearly a divided some elements of the Democratic Party. There was 10 Democrats voting with Republicans to ultimately approve this measure, 224 to 100.
I love that, dude. You know what? Maybe we should cut funding to the arts, honestly. Too many Democrats doing too many lame things, okay? I'm no longer an advocate for funding the arts programs. They are creating too many Democrats who love doing theater shit, okay? Give me the reins of power. I will exile Lin-Manuel Miranda. Do you understand? I will send him to a faraway island, not Puerto Rico, okay? A faraway island, further away than anyone's ever imagined before. They went from the Diddy-crats to the Drama-crats. Despite the Lin-Manuel Miranda nature of this, shouldn't we at least give them some credit for obstructing? No. I think they need to stop being lame. That's like, I think I'm not Mr. Optics all the time, but god damn, dude, they are so lame.
In '98 was the vote to censure Al Green, which essentially is a public admonition. It's a way to say that the House disapproves of an action of a specific member. It really doesn't go beyond that. It used to be very rare that the House would take such an action, really only in the most egregious of offenses. But in recent years, it's becoming used much more commonly. And in the aftermath of what Al Green did on the House floor, Republicans made clear that they wanted to punish Al Green for his extended outbursts and ultimate removal from the House floor during Donald Trump's address to Congress. But we'll see if the Speaker decides to do anything else to these Democrats who are now speaking out or chanting, it seems, on the House floor, if they're ultimately removed, or if the Speaker decides to take any action on them as well. Guys.
Very interesting.
I'm going to take a closer look at those 10 Democrats who voted
I was just thinking that.
To censure their fellow Democrat, Al Green of Texas.
Yeah, because I would think Monty Raju, I think we just lost him, but I'd like to know historically, you were talking about, it used to be extraordinarily rare, not so much in the last recent years, but how rare is it for a member of the person being censured's own party to vote with the other side like this?
I cannot begin to explain to you how much I despise Emma Dems when they want to save the country. Oh God. That is right. I mean, that's they're resisting. This is pretty good. 360 no scope montage.
You know, that has happened sometimes in recent history, but typically these things have gone down, at least in the last couple of years, have gone down.
Yeah, it's not funny. White people only do this when they're frightened. It's not. You're not being funny. It's not funny nor cute. Okay.
Long party lines.
This is the final thing that white people do, right? Moments before their fight or flight response kicks in.
Years have gone down mostly along party lines. Sometimes people may break ranks, especially ones in difficult districts. One person who did vote to censure Al Green right now is Marcy Kaptur. She's a veteran Ohio Democrat, someone who's actually in a swing district. So that tells you something there. Another one, Jared Moskowitz, a more moderate member of the House Democratic Caucus. He voted to censure Al Green. Another one, Jim Himes of Connecticut, perhaps not as progressive as some of the members who are actually engaging in some of that protest that was happening here. But the larger issue here, though, is the debate within the Democratic Party over how exactly to express themselves as the opposition to Donald Trump at this key moment. In that, during the speech, the Democratic leaders did not want their members to engage on things what Al Green was doing. They did not want people to hold up signs. That was the message that came from Hakeem Jeffries himself to his Democrats, and progressives in particular did not listen to that advice. They wanted to show that they were fighting for Donald Trump, and they wanted the public to know that as well. And clearly Al Green didn't take that advice also. We'll see what he ultimately says when he comes out of this censure vote. But before this vote, Pamela and Wolf, he said, I'm prepared to suffer the consequences of his actions. So he has really no regrets for what he did, and he said he would do it again.
Let's talk about this and more with Democratic Congressman Dan Goldman of New York. He sits on the House Homeland Security Committee. I know you voted not to censure him, Congressman. What went into your decision?
Well, first of all, the Republicans have rendered censure to be totally meaningless by using it at every opportunity. It also is just entirely separate and apart from what we should be doing. How is censuring Al Green helping to lower the cost of eggs? How is it reducing inflation? How is it increasing unemployment? How is it reducing housing costs? It's not. The Republicans are doing meaningless stuff on the floor, and it is ultimately hurting Americans. What we should be talking about is all the lies that Donald Trump told on Tuesday night. How he brought in a cancer survivor while he's cutting cancer research. How he brought in the wife of a slain officer while he is pardoning others who were convicted for assaulting officers. How he lied about Ukraine aid. How he lied about Social Security. How he lied about so many different things. That's what he's doing.
Not bad.
That he is gaslighting the American people. And what I wish we were talking about is not.
He read your tweet, Lamau. I mean, it did go viral.
How the Democrats oppose what terrible lies and policies that Donald Trump is pushing through, and the complete ineptitude and powerlessness that the House Republicans are showing.
This morning, House Republicans and 10 Democrats voted to censure one of your Democratic colleagues, Al Green, for disrupting Trump's address to Congress.
Another funny thing that JD Pondon did, of course, is obviously this one. Hold on. As you guys know, the Department of Government Efficiency, also known as DOGE, is doing a fire sale on all of these federal properties, the properties of the federal government owns. And it's a really stupid thing to do because this is like incredibly expensive real estate that they're just selling off willy-nilly. A very, very stupid thing to do. But in the process, it has gotten even dumber. JD Pondon and his team over at DOGE, in an effort to sell off federal properties, inadvertently exposes CIA black site in Northern Virginia. That's right. My goat, my king. They're doing the damn thing again. This is the type of stuff that makes me genuinely think that they have nothing going on in there. They're just like breaking stuff. They're shaking the trees to see what falls, you know? Some stuff are slipping through the cracks, obviously, in the process, and they just kind of bandage it later on. But it's very obvious that they're not competent. It's very obvious that they're not remotely interested in you know, doing this kind of like deregulation in a way that makes sense, in a way that is still stable, relatively stable. Because deregulation is always going to cause instability down the line. Having said that, however, the way that Democrats and Republicans both have played this game is by hiring competent auditors to make these assessments, to work to reduce the federal workforce, things of that nature. Like, this is a long and convoluted process. Trump, on the other hand, is like, nah, I don't care. Just take it out, kill it all. Who cares? And whenever there's any aspect of the chainsaw that actually fires back at us while we're ripping through the administrative state, we'll just rehire them. That's it.
You voted in favor of censuring your Democratic colleague. Why?
Well, many years.
Well, because I'm a piece of shit and a goddamn loser, okay, and a stupid coward. That's why I censured my own colleague on the Democratic Party, who demonstrated the courage to do anything, really. Some might even say the bare minimum. I think that even the bare minimum is unacceptable. And as a Democrat, I think that we should just be Republicans. We should love Republicans. We should hug Republicans. We should kiss Republicans. We should just suck them off. We should just be Republicans. Okay? There you go. That's the answer. That's the real answer.
Of censuring or disapproving of Joe Wilson because he shouted, "You lie." It was just a very brief interruption. It was profoundly disrespectful to then President.
I genuinely, oh my God. It makes it incredibly difficult for me to maintain this position that the suffering of these people is still bad overall. When they come out and argue for their own demise so actively, like I get the anger and resentment that MAGA has towards Democratic Party politicians in general, and just politicians across the board, and the federal government across the board. When I see a person like this, who fires back at his own party for, at the very least, trying to do something, anything, okay, in an effort to draw people's attention to the Medicaid cuts that are incoming, and he just goes, nah, it's civility, and you need to, I'm a civility pervert. I'm a decorum pervert, okay? You have to maintain decorum. I think, yeah, I'm glad you're suffering. I hope you suffer. Like, it's impossible for me to think that this is a good person.
Obama. I'm sure that I could construct some convoluted way, and I would say, oh, well, President Trump is so much worse than Barack Obama and blah, blah, blah. You know what? I don't mind being one of 10 Democrats who said, no, there's a deeper principle at stake here, which is reverence for this institution. And when somebody disrupts the institution, particularly in a moment as important.
Like, dude, talk about not being able to read the room. The overall vibes from the broadest parts of the American population of voters is unironically to run a fucking mallet through this goddamn government. And this dipshit is still maintaining decorum. Like, he's still busy talking about civility. Dude, just say you're a Republican or you're talking to this guy, right? Not me, I hope. Like, how can you... Dude, Donald Trump is going to accidentally nuke Iowa, and these guys are going to be like, well, you know, the decorum, the institutions in the process, okay? That's it. That's it. They got nothing. You're a bitch. You're a bitch, Jim Himes. You got nothing. You have no motion. God damn, dude. Fuck decorum. Holy shit. It is crazy. Like, what this is, you're nothing. You're lower than dirt, okay? If this is what you are advocating for right now, you are lower than dirt. This is directly a consequence of not standing for anything. That's why they so desperately cling on to bipartisanship and desperately cling on to norms, okay? Procedures, norms, decorum, because they have no ideological conviction. They have no interest in changing the trajectory of austerity that Donald Trump is implementing. They like it. A similar analog to the way liberals feel in Gaza. They feel a sense of elation. They feel a sense of excitement that Trump gets to do cruelty to the leftists that they despise. Okay? They're like, oh, well, now we have the moral high ground because it's out of our hands. We're not doing it. And simultaneously, Trump is the one who's making them suffer. Hasan literally criticizing a Democrat for licking Trump's ass and absolute dumbfuck chatter tells. No, that chatter wasn't saying I was a Republican. He was talking to Jim Himes. This makes people feel super good because liberals just want to maintain the moral high ground. They don't actually care about policies. Okay? They don't actually care about policies. They don't actually care about the impact. They don't actually want to do right by their voters or any person, really. They just want to sit there and go, oh, Trump is so bad. But while they secretly love that Trump is doing this stuff. Okay? Liberals, like Democrats specifically, Democratic politicians, are also on board with these sorts of austerity measures. There are obviously a select few, like Al Green, who have consistently stood up to defend Medicaid, okay? But there are still absolutely Democrats within the House of Representatives, within the caucuses, that 100% would love to sign off on the austerity. But because they got a D next to their name, sometimes they feel a little embarrassed to do so. And I do think that these guys, like the 10 people that were yelling at Al Green, they're on board. I also think that the Democratic Party's communication on these issues implies that they're also kind of on board. That's why Eliza Slotkin spoke very briefly, if at all, about the austerity and focused on, you know, foreign policy, Trump's foreign policy stuff, while also simultaneously saying, we want to do bipartisan border bills with you. We want to do bipartisan border bills with you. You just won't let us do it. We want to do bipartisanship with you. You won't let us do it. Who is this for? Who is this for, I ask? Who's it for? Is there a base of support amongst liberals that's just like, no, we love bipartisanship with the Trump administration. We really want to find a way to manage the collapse of American empire in a way that makes sense. We want to privatize everything as well. I don't want Social Security, actually. Let's just turn it into a cryptocurrency or something. Fuck it. You know?
And look, you know, I have no love for Donald Trump, but I do have reverence for the officer. They salute the uniform. They don't salute the man or the woman in the uniform.
Oh God. And then some silly ass bullshit about the military. Okay, great.
And just think about where this leads. If we defend that behavior at the next State of the Union, you know, when there's a Democratic president in the Senate, people will start standing up and obstructing that speech until there can be no speech. So I feel very, very strongly that at some point we need to stand up and say, as horrified as we may be by Donald Trump or by Barack Obama or by Joe Biden, we act with decorum and with the civility that says to the world that we are a serious country. What you saw, by the way, as much on the more on the Republican side at the State of the Union address, and yes, Al Green, was a country that is not being serious about governing itself. We have nuclear weapons. We're the most powerful economy on the world. We need to start telling the world that we are serious people, and we're telling them the exact opposite with the behavior that we saw in the speech.
Dude, what? We are not a serious country, and you are not a serious person.